Be back bringing you the DC strats for Tyrant Armor. Now, I don't only have one team or two teams, but three teams to show you all. Though the last team, just for a warning, is for fun. I also have the mechanics if this is the first time you're doing this boss or if you need a refresher, as well as some tips and tricks. I'll go over the gear after each clear, but since some of the units are used in all runs, I will only show you the gear of the new units after the first run. Let's go ahead and check them out. Here we have Tyrant Armor. He is a defender type boss who starts at the back, slowly walks towards your ship menacingly, and spawns a bunch of little ads that are normal rangers, and then one sniper ad that's large and does a lot of damage. Boss's special, indicated by the blue bar underneath his portrait, is an AoE knockback. This can be dodged. Boss's ult, indicated by the purple bar underneath his portrait, he basically just charges forward and then hits everything in his path, and then throws down an AoE lightning strike, which is only one valid hit, so you can shield it, and it can be redirected, so you can turn him around so he doesn't just run over your team. Boss will initiate a hit check around the end of the first bar of his HP. This is an actual hit check and not a damage check, so you need multiple units that hit fast. He'll do it again at the start of his last bar of HP. During the hit check, the boss is going to sit there and have an aura around him. This slows your unit's A speed down by 90%, give or take. Failure to complete the hit check will result in a laser beam that'll knock back anybody who survives, but basically normally wipes your team. The boss is going to have 1.4 mil HP, 3,389 defense, almost 2k hit, and then 1158 evasion. This basically means your tanks or anybody that you want dodging hits is going to need at least over 1053 evasion. In order to hit surefire on this boss, you need 2171 hit. If you cut that with evasion shredders in half, you need at least 1087 hit in order to surefire. Not all your units can reach this, but some of the important ones can. Biggest tips I can give you is that if you don't dodge the first knockback, go ahead and restart. It messes up a lot of positioning, and on top of that, sometimes some of your units will get killed. This hit check's going to be one of the biggest issues most people face while doing this boss. Use everything. If you're having issues passing it, if you don't have Swift Relic, you don't have the A speed op, try everything. Throw your ship skills, throw your ulties. You just need to hit it with everything you got to try and pass it. Second one won't be as bad because you'll have a couple more units to help pass, but you need to get past this first one. By some miracle, your front line's still alive. There's this nifty, neat feature where if you click on the portrait, you click the button above their head, it retreats them. This works really well because this boss only ults if something's within melee range. So this might buy you the few seconds you need in order to clear this boss. Here are the DC mods I'm using for these runs. As you'll notice, I'm not taking minus 40% A speed. Everything else though is max except for the boss's HP. So we have minus 40% haste, plus 50% enemy unit attack, minus 50% ally attack, deployment resource minus 30, and ally HP minus 50%. So for the Ajia team, for tanking with Alex, our main carry is going to be Rivet. We have Ajia for the shields and buffs, Taras for Death Break, OAR, and Assault Troopers to deal damage because they're Rangers and this Defender type boss. So, and then on top of that, they also help out with the hit check. Lonely for the 40% Death Break because this is a counter. And then you have Soyun for the ending to buff everybody and give us the last bit of Death Break that we need. For this strat, I went ahead and did auto deploy. You might forward deploy. It really just depends on the timing, your gear, and how the fight goes. You might have to try both to see which one you like better. But basically, Rivet does an amazing job. Blows up the ads, keeps your Alex really safe. And then you have on top of that shields from Ajia periodically. Troopers coming in. Good idea would be to spawn your troopers where OAR are standing, because that's where they're going to fire from anyways. After that, we got the first hit check here. Now you can go ahead and use your ship skill S1 at the very beginning, because it'll be back up in time for the burst phase. There we have it. Rivet coming in number 1 as usual. Best DPS. For gear, you're going to want to sit there and have Alex on tank gear. E is preferred. HP. Now, I went ahead and threw in some melee res, since she already has a high evasion, and more evasion is not going to change too much. It may reduce your damage from the boss and the ads a bit, but I wanted to go with something more guaranteed, so I threw a little melee res on her. You want crit damage res as much as you can, up to 50% if possible. I didn't have the gear to pull that off, so I just went with this. Rivet I have on attack anti-defender. A speed might be a preferable option if you're having issues with the hit check, but overall you just want to sit there and burst as much as possible. So attack, anti-defender. Bullet would even help here if you don't have the corresponding sets. Ajia, since she's relatively safe, I just went ahead and put Mage CDR on her. She may not do damage, but hey, you know, every little extra is helpful. A speed, anti-defender on Tarask. You want him attacking as much as possible. Now, because this is being done on minus 25%, you really don't need 2 A speed sets if you have the A speed operator maxed. So Blaze works just fine on admin rifleman. And you're probably going to sit there and wonder, why am I putting Blaze on admin and not on the troopers, the assault troopers? Instead, I have on my assault troopers the A speed anti-defender set. And that's because assault troopers, there's 3. That means more hits, and we want them attacking as fast as possible so that they can help clear that hit check. Lonely, I just have on CDR gear. 76 isn't necessary unless you can't clear the burst phase, basically. she can get a second hit in, and the earlier or the second special in, and the earlier the better, obviously. But overall, your goal is to try and kill within the first burst phase, so you don't have to go all out on her gear. And Soyun I have on A speed anti-defender. She actually does damage this time, so we want to actually put damage. She is a ranger, and this boss is a defender. A lot of same things get used in this team as the previous one. But as you notice, Achifu instead of Alex, Sky instead of Ajia, and Kang instead of Soyun. The big thing we're going to use in this strategy is that Achifu has immortality, so she doesn't get killed immediately, which is awesome. On top of that, her special sits there and shreds evasion, so it'll give you surefire at this point when you use Enterprise's S1 and her special at the same time, which is great because we have the two units that we really want on the field doing damage. This guy's going to sit there and be our buffer. We're going to get the troopers in here. Get another surefire window here. Now, the big thing for this strategy is that you want to ulti right here to get the iframes. And so that right as the boss's hit check ends, she immediately ultis, which is perfect for the burst window. Then we sit there and spam all our buffers, defense breakers. Try to clear this last hit check. And then blow the boss up. Wonderful damage from our whole team. For this clear, Chifu's running CDR tank. Want to get to her ulti as soon as we can and get as many evasion shreds. Sky is going to be on A speed with skill haste. I've chosen Mage for this occasion, but Swift works just as well. And then Kang you can basically put on anything. Anti-defender, preferable, ground damage. Just she's not out for long, but she is a ranger and she does do some damage. So we want to sit there and use as much as possible. Now for funsies, I have a Aregina team here. This isn't a good team. This is just for fun. But honestly, I think that if we didn't have minus 90% crit on counters, she might have actually been viable. Now, the biggest change in this team is that we replace Rivet for Aregina and then use Alex and Sky as our tank and support. So here's the biggest change from all the strategies. You need to forward deploy Aregina. She needs to get rid of that shield as soon as possible, so we back deploy our tank so that the ads aggro onto Aregina and break that shield. He doesn't really do great damage until that shield's broken. As you can see, she just starts mowing down the ads. We can even take a knockback here because why not? Problem with 7 costs is it's hard to get everything else out. But even the sniper ad, who we normally have trouble with, is getting slowed, beat up, exploded, just dies. And on top of that, Tornadoes does wonders on the hit check. Who would have thought? If she actually could crit, this would honestly be probably an insane run. But as you can see, it's much slower than the rest of the runs. I'm not even sure Lonely got her death break in there. Huh. doing big numbies for 7 cost. For Aregina, we went with A-Speed Anti-Defender. I honestly think that she could do attack or attack anti-defender, but I didn't have the sets in order to do that. I just went with what I had. Thanks for watching. I hope this guide helps you. Don't be discouraged if you can't do minus 40% A speed. You still have some time to farm A speed Swift and get those juicy latents, but you can still get a respectable score doing minus 25%. As always, feel free to leave a comment or catch me on Discord, link will be in the description. Want to buy me a coffee, you can find a link in the description for that as well. And I will see you all next time.